This classic episode of the Electric Playground is brought to you by PNP Games, your source for everything video games. Support the partners that support Electric Playground. Remember, this episode first aired in 1997. This week on the Electric Playground.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Also,
Gee, I put it in, turn it on, I'm playing in 3 seconds.
Plus,
we're going to see games get closer and closer to reality in the next few years.
When you think of sports and video games, there's only one company that comes to mind, EA. Now, Electronic Arts is one of the most successful and popular game companies of all time. Now, to find out what they have coming up next, we chased them around the world on the EP Show. It's in the show. Now, where are we? This is like the EA Sports Bar?
This is the EA Sports Bar, the one and only.
Yes, I roll. Ho-ho! Now, EA has rewritten the book on sports games in the video game industry. I mean, hands down, the first thing that pops into people's mind when you think of EA is the sports game. What's the biggest seller? Would it be Madden Football?
It would be, although FIFA Soccer is a close second.
Yeah.
And NHL Hockey and NBA Live are nipping on their heels.
Right.
But Madden, which has been around in one form or another for over 10 years, is well over 10 million units in its lifetime now.
It's a great day for Electronic Arts Canada today. We're about to pour the first footing for our new building.
In the early days of our company, we worked on educational titles, simulation, action products, and we found that we really had probably more core competencies in sports.
If you yell out, "I want an EA hockey game," we will give you one.
I want an EA hockey game.
Yell it.
I want an EA hockey game.
From your diaphragm, come on.
I want an EA hockey game.
All right.
All of our sports titles this fall, FIFA, NBA Live, NHL, they're all 3D effects compatible. So I mean, it's great frame rate, huge resolution. The games are getting so realistic nowadays.
And every chance of a flowing game of football today.
And action.
I really think that at this time in Vancouver, we did a really good job because all the contractors, they put the grass like a normal pitch. When you see the results after on the computer, on the screen, it's just amazing to see.
Would you trade me a donut for an EA Sports t-shirt?
Yeah, for sure. How many donuts do you want?
We went for a whole new view. You know, this year the product has a much lower camera angle. The players are bigger. The motion capture is all new. Tons of frames of animation. But what we really tried to shoot for was the great gameplay. You guys have been working their butts off for the last 2 weeks to get this game out.
How many people have been sleeping here lately? Everybody, yeah?
How many polygons per character are you guys running?
Well, there's several different sizes of characters depending on how close they are to the camera, right. But the highest polygon count's around 300.
What do you want for Christmas? An EA t-shirt.
The players have got a lot of detail in their faces, and you can go in and you can edit them.
Oh, wow.
So we have different nationalities. So if you're Asian, African, Excellent. North American.
Hey, buddy, you're going the wrong way.
Jeff Gordon's in there, Terry Labonte, Bobby Labonte, Rusty Wallace, all the big drivers are there with all the big tracks, Talladega, Michigan, Atlanta.
17 tracks, you're saying?
The green flag is out.
And Cody, boy, are we tired.
Very tired.
Tired.
Too tired.
Tired.
If you juggle for me, I will give you the FIFA 97.
Uh-oh.
Get it.
The Ducks got it. The Duck got it.
I'm going to need you to speak into the shoe here. This is Shaq Shoe.
Yeah.
March Madness 98.
March Madness 98. And it's all about college basketball.
College basketball at its best.
1, 2, 3.
I'm looking, from nowhere, from behind.
That is the harshest foul.
Do you play no spinnies?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay, cool. Is that cheating when I go like that? Is that?
Ah, just a little bit, Tom.
Oh.
So do you like the t-shirt?
Yeah. Do you have any more video games?
Yeah.
All right, pick one.
Cool. Do you guys want more donuts?
What would you say to people out there that don't play games?
Just try it, because if all you think about video games is your girlfriend's brother playing 8-bit Nintendo or something, things have really changed.
We're running an optical motion capture system with 8 cameras. It shoots 240 frames a second, synchronized between all 8 cameras. It's an all-digital system, goes right to a hard disk, so there is no film, no videotape. Gets spooled to the hard drives. He takes the data from the cameras where they triangulate in on each marker, figure out where his body is, what his body's doing, output it to a skeleton that has all the subtlety and all the beautiful things of his movement.
Iserman passes. Hextall made the save.
And this year we had stuff like Mark Crawford coming up from, he's a Stanley Cup winning coach of the Colorado Avalanche. I work with the production team, just breaking down on the chalkboard, you know, what is a box in one, what's the funnel, different ways that you can do a better strategy in the game so that it plays more realistically.
You're going to play here, thinking more about this way.
Honey dip or honeydew?
Sugar powdered ones, and then one of the chocolate ones. I want a chocolate donut, please.
Okay, everyone, come on, let's put down those donuts. 1 and a 2.
Lee from PNP Games here. What do you think buying video games is going to be like in the year 2020? Someday, you might not even have to leave your home to purchase video games. Someday, you might not be able to hold the games you purchase in your hands either. Hey! Whether you can visit us at one of our retail locations in Winnipeg or online at pnpgamesonline.com, we appreciate your support as we support Victor and the Electric Playground Classic. Another classic episode of EP is coming up next week, so play it loud and play forever.
Hey, I got a question.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are curious as to why Nintendo has stuck with cartridges and it has stayed away from the CD-ROM technology.
Can somebody at Nintendo please give me the inside scoop?
Why cartridges, Ken? Yeah, why cartridges, Ken?
We made the right choice. That would be my conclusion. I would tell you why. I'm sure most people have read and heard these arguments before. But the reality is, with a video game, you need the data fast. With a CD-ROM, you're basically playing your game from RAM. There are some exceptions where you can spool the data off the CD-ROM into RAM and then kind of play it in a very fixed sequence, because now your data is coming off almost like off of a long, skinny piece of tape, imagine. So I can't say I'm here and no, I want to be there, no, I want to be here, no there. With a cartridge, you're doing kind of the same thing. When I start my level, all the data comes from the cartridge and goes into RAM, and I'm playing from RAM. The difference is, as I'm playing, let's say I go around a corner in Diddy Kong Racing, and there's going to be the big, giant dinosaur. He's not sitting in RAM until I get near that place on the track, and we go, oh, we need the big, giant dinosaur, and they go grab him off the cartridge, and they stick him in to RAM, and then they display it on the screen, and then, you know, you go around the corner, he's gone, we don't need him anymore, we need the big, flamey volcano, go get it off cartridge, stick it into RAM, display it on the screen. All this is happening completely transparent. Gee, I put it in, turn it on, I'm playing in 3 seconds. That's a huge benefit. But the reality is that's not the reason why we go with cartridge. It's because of DMA, which is direct memory addressing, which means you can go to the ROM while you're playing a level. That makes our games what they are. We have 4 megabytes of RAM in the Nintendo 64 right now. Let's just say, for example, that instead of a cartridge, we had a CD-ROM. You could not play any of the games that have been released. Cartridges are growing dramatically. As what has been announced recently, Legend of Zelda is going to be on a 32 megabyte cartridge. That would be 4 times the size of Mario 64, and it would be about 64 times the size of Super Mario World, I believe. And this isn't stopping. ROM is going to continue to grow and grow and grow, and there will be ROMs that are the size of CD-ROMs today within 5 years. I think if you look at what's Nintendo's philosophy, right? It's not what can we make cheaper. which is the only reason to go to CD-ROM. If you look at every argument, there's always something you can say, why would you not go with CD-ROM? It's so cheap.
Yeah, all that stuff is great, but what about the 64DD?
Well, the other reason to go away from ROM alone is the writability aspect of the 64DD.
What is that thing?
Okay, Kenny, the Nintendo 64 disk drive, Nintendo's next generation add-on device. Adds an additional 4 megabytes of RAM to the N64. Disk will store up to 64 megabytes of game info, read-write capabilities, internet connectivity for future game upgrades.
If you look at what's happened with video games over the years, they grow in the sense of story and the sense of interactivity of how a character can interact with his environment. GoldenEye, I can shoot all these bullet holes. But what if I had a game that was 10 times bigger than GoldenEye, and I could knock down walls or cut down trees or flood areas or blow things up, and they would stay that way forever on my disc because I did them, they always stay that way. And you're never going to do that on CD-ROM or DVD, and you're not going to do it on ROM alone. It's not just I can save a really big save file, you know. Yeah. It means I can save a lot of details about what's going on in the game. And in some games, yeah, it just might be I can save every stat that you've ever imagined in a sports game. You know, or something simple like in GoldenEye, I could save every bullet hole. But, you know, you get to the point where you start realizing, you know, I can have dramatic effect on the environment. Let's say I've had a game for a year. You know, I'm done, and I haven't played it in a long time. And I go back and it's like, whoa, there's trees growing where I cut down this field or something. You know, how can that be? I haven't even turned the game on for a year. Well, they can go check the clock that's in the 64DD and say, he hasn't turned the game on for a while. We need to update what's going to happen because 10 months have passed.
Hey, out of the way, cheers!
Ouch!
EP. It's a full contact show.
Sega Saturn's most exciting shooter is about to become the Sega Saturn's most exciting RPG, Panzer Dragoon Saga for the Sega. Saga for the Sega? That's a lot of sibilants.
Panzer Dragoon Saga.
Basically, it's capitalizing on the success we've had with Panzer series as a flying shooter and the success Sega is known for with RPGs and melding that into one. The flight is real-time, 3D. One of the huge differences is that you're actually going to be flying in full 3D. Previously, it was railed flying. Everybody's always wished, I want to be able to fly that Dragon anywhere I want to go. Well, not only now can you do that, but you also can get off the Dragon, go into cities, do standard RPG interaction. It's going to be 4 discs long, so it's huge. You know, we're estimating at least over 100 hours of gameplay. There's 2 types of storytelling in here. We'll have the amazing, beautiful FMV stuff. We also have really beautiful stuff that was done with the engine, so it's seamless. So what we're taking a look at is the actual gameplay right now. As you can see, I can bring up a cursor, access things. I can fly anywhere I want. Standard RPG style of entering a battle. I'll be flying along and come into contact with enemies, and it brings me into the battle interface. This is where I can pull up spells. I'm going to show you a really nice flashy spell right here.
What's the background with the Panzer Dragoon story? Is it something that Sega just came up with in
It's Mobius did some art that some people in Japan recognized, and a team of designers and developers took a look at that and sort of got a concept of this future world after an information age. And everything's kind of primitive again, and people start discovering this old technology as well as discovering these creatures, these dragoons. We're seeing RPGs become much more successful in America. It took a while for them to catch on, but they have, and they're here to stay.
If you own a Sony PlayStation, then you probably own a Psygnosis game. If not, then you suck! Now, Psygnosis is known for doing a lot of cool games on the PlayStation. Wipeout, Formula F1, Destruction Derby. Now, 2 of their latest games, Colony Wars and G-Police, are kick-ass! Let's take a look.
Victor Lucas with Electric Playground. I'm with Lisa Cheney, who's a product manager for
Colony Wars. Our primary objective is to give the player a feeling of truly being in the midst of a war that's taking place in space.
Detected.
Has over 5 hours of voiceover work, 25 minutes of full motion video sequences. It takes place over 70 missions divided into 18 acts.
Are you basically one person against the entire universe?
So you actually have wingmen that are fighting with you. You get advice from your headquarters and your wingmen about what's going on.
Immediate response required.
I wasn't expecting to stay home.
The streaking star effect, how is that done?
And we use a small particle system in order to give a big impression of speed.
One of the weapons is a grapple hook. They can't get away. Keep blasting at them until they explode.
We're taking influences from Babylon 5, Star Wars, Star Trek, anything with space in it. We've analyzed it and taken the best elements.
In the game, you actually get 3 different viewpoints that you can fight with. That was the external you just saw before. This is our virtual cockpit, and there's also an internal view without the cockpit. And what he's doing now is he's actually taking out the shields of the enemy. The enemy, that's the Imperial Navy there that are blue. The League of Free Worlds is green.
And what we've tried to do is introduce the most interesting aspects of space, your nebulas, your planets. We have warp holes and black holes and jump gates.
How long did it take you to come up with the idea and get it all down there?
We began Colony Wars about 16 months ago. We went through about a 3-month design phase, and then it's been a rolling design which has evolved as the game has been produced.
I'd flown these babies on Mars during the war, and they were past their prime even then.
We're going to see games get closer and closer to reality in the next few years, and I can see that GP spearheads the way in that.
Good work.
Let me just change to £1,000 bomb. This is, occasionally you've got to level buildings. There you go. This is what I mean by the game being realistic and filmic.
As you're probably aware, internal affairs are now investigating us, so no foul-ups, no heroics, and definitely no friendly fire incidents.
I mean, Blade Runner's sort of vision of the future is the perfect one, as far as I'm concerned. It really is the benchmark for a good-looking game. So we thought, right, we'll go for that. We'll make sure the city's quite dense. There's a lot of stuff going around. Blade Runner was a good influence as well.
What do you think the secret is to getting more people to play games?
Do a good game. I mean, a lot of games before was aimed at a low age group, but Sony have pushed the age range up a bit to sort of mid-20s and upwards. So, it's getting a lot more popular with a lot more people.
He's owned by the corporation Krakow, and there's a virus in his control systems that's making him shoot the bystanders. I've actually started shooting him, so he's having a go at me now. What I can do, I'll use the electronic pulse paralyzer. So let's fire a few infrared missiles. Let's fire a few hypervelocity missiles. And bang, he's gone.
G-Police is so filmic and so realistic. For the first time, we're able to play the hero in your very own action film.
You have your ideal, then you try and turn that ideal into a game. And all the while, you're having to pull things back, you're having to take things out. The computers are getting so very powerful now, with the accelerated cards, the power is immense, that we can actually start delivering the games as we intended them.
What you've just witnessed is a taste of what we call the EP zone.
So did you get a chance to meet Troy, Power Glove guy? Power Glove?
Man, that thing is so bad.
You want to try it out? You can't, it's mine.
This game is totally immersive. As far as you could tell, if you had perhaps gotten a little too into it, you might think it is reality. And so it was very clear that this was the way to go in terms of diverting those nasty impulses.
Today on the Simpatico Question of the Week, George the Lame Gamer Costas from Vancouver asks, why are some games so difficult?
Probably the hardest lesson for a developer to learn is how to balance your game. Yeah. The problem is, as you play the game that you're programming, it's always too easy because you can do it. So you program it, and then the next week, it's too easy. So then you make it harder, and then you make it harder, and then you make it harder. And what you're doing is you're programming a game for yourself. Well, what happens when you throw it into the lap of some 12-year-old, or even in our case, we'll give a game to our people that are bug testing, or some of the game counselors we'll bring down for a white paper test, which is a test for someone that's never played the game before, and it's impossible, So drilling this into the developers' minds is a big part of what we try and do.
Hey, to send us your questions, all you have to do is check out our website at ep.simpatico.ca.
What'd you think of Parappa the Rappa, man, for the PlayStation?
You gotta believe.
You gotta believe.
No, this is a game that is an instant cult classic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is a real innovative game. The look of it, I gotta be
I
honest
love
with
the flat characters walking around.
you. Parappa in Japanese means paper thin. I gotta admit, the first time I put this game in, I'm like, what is this crap?
Yeah.
But it is, what is it?
Rappa the Rappa.
That's what I used to call it, Crapper the Rapper. No, after about the first 30 seconds,
Yeah.
you just fall into it, and you gotta love it.
It's all about timing. You gotta hit the buttons and controls at the proper time, and you get in sync with the rhythm of the music that's throughout the game, which
You
is
got
all
the kick, punch, kick, punch. Oh, yeah.
In the rain, I'm in the snow.
Come on, we really got to go. In the rain or in the snow, you got to funky flow. You know, it's excellent.
He's really good at it. So it's not something you're going to pick up unless you are a musician.
The cut scenes,
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
The best one is
When they all got to go to the bathroom.
well, no, well, how about when he crashes his dad's car?
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, oh no, my dad's gonna bite me.
My dad's gonna bite me.
The toilet scene's the best though. Vic nailed it.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Pretty hilarious.
You gotta out-rap all the people before you go to the bathroom in your pants.
I'm hoping there's many sequels. I hope they
What's
keep
that
bringing
about?
this character back.
It's
I hope it's a huge hit. 9.5 out of 10. Great game.
Yep, 9.5. I'm with you on that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, what about Last Bronx for the Sega Saturn?
Now, Last Bronx for the Saturn, I give this one a high score right off the top.
Yeah.
For the main reason that there's a character in there named Tommy, and he rules.
Note to game developers, if you want a high score on the show,
That's right.
give it the Vein
No,
Boy over here.
I think it's one of the fastest fighting games I've seen
Yep.
for the Saturn. And it looks great.
It
I
does.
mean, it looks really good.
Straight up,
You
it's
got little weapons
it's my
going on.
favorite. That and Bushido Blade are my favorite weapon fighters for the year.
Here's where they could have improvement. There's a little, when two characters are going into their spins and something, I saw a little slowdown there.
Yeah.
I saw a little, it was chugging.
Still,
And
man, the resolution is really high.
It
It's
is good.
Virtual Fighter 2 resolution. The characters look great. The
Yeah.
weapons are awesome. The speed is excellent. The actual foreground action, the stuff that's going on between the fighters, is really solid. It's as solid looking as Virtual Fighter 2 was. All you need for the Saturn in terms of fighting games are that Last Bronx
Fighters
and,
Mega
and
Mix.
Fighters Mega Mix, and you're kicking.
It's a great fighting game. Doesn't really have all the bells and whistles, but I still give it a high score. I had a 9.0.
Yeah, I'd give it a 9.5. I'd definitely check this one out.
Well, this is no fun. We're agreeing on everything.
I know, this sucks.
What's the last game?
The last game is Mass Destruction.
Oh!
For the Sony PlayStation.
Guess we won't be agreeing on everything then. Come on, this is a PlayStation game.
Yeah.
Okay, I know the game is simple, and I've
Yeah.
talked before about how I like simple games.
Yeah.
If you're going to be simple like that, it's got to be graphically beautiful to me.
Jazz it up.
And I look at a game like Nuclear Strike.
It's no Nuclear Strike. It's not even Return Fire for the 3DO, which it kind of looks like in some ways.
Graphics are a bit poor.
Yeah. But still, you get tons of power-ups, you get a cool tank, you get the turret control so you can be
I hated the
driving in one
controls.
direction and
Absolutely.
shooting in another.
I couldn't even play it with the analog controller or the digital.
Well, at least you can use the analog controller. One analog controller handles the movement, the other one is the turrets. Once you get it
The
down,
sound.
it's pretty cool. Sounds lame. Graphics aren't that great, but it's fun. There's lots of stuff to blow up, and you wouldn't think that in a game called Mass Destruction. I'd give it 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10?
Yeah, what would you give it?
I'm a 6.2 on this puppy.
6.2?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's a fair score.
Do you want to go back to sleep there?
Yeah. You a bit tired?
No.
No? All right.
You gotta believe what you wanna do when you come. You gotta believe what you wanna do when you come. You gotta believe.
Tommy, thanks for coming by.
What?
Thanks for coming by.
I'm doing this. I don't want to do that. What'd you do that for?
Production assistance for the Electric Playground was provided by Nintendo of Canada and Heat.net.
Allison's gonna give us a quote from FIFA 98. Yee-hoo! Did you catch it, Doc?
Look, Mom, I'm about to do karate.
Look, Fighters Mega Mix for the Sega Saturn.
If you shout out FIFA 98, I'll give you an EA t-shirt.
That's so risky.
I was on TV and all I got was this lousy t-shirt.
This classic episode of The Electric Playground was brought to you by P&P Games, your source for everything video games. Support the partners that support The Electric Playground. Thanks for watching, and play forever.